the next one I'd like to talk about is registered educational savings plans. Now, they are designed to help us save for our children's post-secondary education. And as a planner, I think I've experienced that most children will find themselves involved in some post-secondary activity that qualifies for the withdrawals from these plans, whether it be college or university or trade school or special programs to learn a specific skill. It's a very high percentage of children that are going to do some post-secondary education. Okay, so these plans are applicable to most of us that have kids. Now, how do they work? In this case, I'm not getting a tax refund for putting money in my RESP, but the government says that, hey, if you'll save for your kids' education, we will throw some money in the pot as well. And so they've got some rules and some limits and of how much they will contribute, which is currently about 20% of what, up to a maximum of $2,500 that I contribute. So I can put $2,500 a year in for my children between birth and 18, and they will put in 20% of that, up to a maximum of $500 a year. So and there actually is an incentive for low-income people that that's the standard plan. Low-income families, the grant there's even an additional grant or an education bond that we'll put in. So here we have the government that's coming along and saying it's important for you to save for your kids' education, and because we believe it's so important, we're going to contribute some money to that pot. Okay, so that's all good, and the assumption is that I'm going to gain a tax advantage from this also, because I don't gain anything from a tax point of view putting the money in, but when my child takes it out, it can be taxed in the hands of the child. So the assumption is that the child's tax rate on the earnings within the plan will be less than mine will be. And in fact, you would expect that the child will pay little or no taxes on what is earned in the plan while it's growing until they go to school, because they're going to be at a low tax bracket. They may not have high earnings in their time at school. So with personal exemptions and other things, they're not going to pay any taxes on what it earns, which is great. I'm pretty much getting almost the same advantages that I would from a tax-free savings account. I'm going to put money into an account. I'm not going to pay any taxes along the way while it's making me money. And when I take it out at the end, I'm not going to pay any taxes on it. That would be the ideal. Now, again, you need to put this in the context of your own family, though. We have many clients that's not quite what they experience. When the money comes out in the child's hands at age 18, the child may well have some taxable income. And they may have a job to support them to go to school. They may be working for their family company that's paying them to, in the summer to work. We tend to not see every child that's going to school or post-secondary education have zero income. And if that income gets up past their personal exemptions, they could well be paying taxes on it. So it's not tax-free, but there's a high, for a lot of people it will be. For some it won't be. So again, put it in the context of your own family. Now, when comparing it against a tax-free savings account, you can simply say that, well, gee, if this is likely that my RESP is going to be tax-free and the government's going to give me money, well, that kind of makes it better than a tax-free savings account. My tax-free savings account, I put money in. Yes, I'm not going to pay any taxes on what I earn, but the government's not offering me any help, and they're certainly not depositing money into my tax-free savings account for me. But if I put money into my children's registered education savings plan, the government will give me a grant and possibly an additional bond. So I'm going to get some free money. And free money, it can be thought of as even better than tax-free. Okay, free money is good money. We like to get it, and if then we pay no taxes on receiving it, that's even better. So RESPs tend to be the preference for the next amount of money you might have to put aside if your children are going to school and you need to help them go to school. Then I can certainly say an retirement education savings plan may have a preference over a tax-free savings account, unless I think that child is going to be in a tax bracket where they're going to pay taxes in the future. So again, I can't stress this enough, is that there's no right answer. The answer for you on whether you use a registered educational savings plan to save for your children's education or a tax-free savings account is going to depend on what the family's tax situation is now and in the future. And we can't really put that in context unless we plan out the future a little bit, and that's what financial planning is all about. And it's well worth the exercise to determine what I should or how I should be using all these plans that the government has put in front of me, and where should I be allocating my limited resources, because I can't obviously every year in every household fill up all these plans to the maximum that's allowed by the government. So I have choices to make. And so I can only make good choices within the context of my whole family's tax plan, both now and in the future, and that's what we need to do. On the a little bit more on the RESP specifically, there's sometimes a misunderstanding that what you can invest in. RESPs are certainly just have this same basic set of investments available to use that our RSP does. You can choose a whole wide selection of investments, as well as same applies for your tax-free savings account. And often people think they're just savings accounts. Your tax-free savings account can be used for a whole host of qualified investments. These plans aren't just savings accounts, and we need to know that. They're a place I can actually have something for my whole portfolio in them. I can choose stocks, bonds, and saving instruments and GICs, and like I said, a whole host of things I can put inside these plans. So that's sometimes a misunderstanding by people, that they think that these, because they're savings plans, they need to be savings, not investments. And the RESPs, we have situations where I tell people not to use RESPs, and it has to do with the overall tax planning of the family, particularly when they have small businesses. Not all small businesses should actually fund RESPs for their children, even though there's a free grant, because there may be a better situation by giving your kid a job when they go to university. So again, I can't stress enough that you need to put this in the context of your own plan.